Oh, so that's the issue. The flux capacitor is not connected to the warp core.
Of course. Should have made that upgrade. We're back for another inverter test. Today's test is about seeing how the inverter would do to give you the air conditioning you need to get you through an overnight layover, such as a stop at Cracker Barrel, Boondocker's Welcome, Harvest Host, the situations where you may not have hookups. As tested today, we're testing a Victron Multiplus inverter with 500 amp hours of dedicated battle-borne lithium batteries just to the inverter. We have a separate battery bank with 200 amp hours of battle-borne battery to supply the 12-volt systems. The air conditioner has also been equipped with an easy start. But let's get this test started. So we're going to unplug, and I'm going to explain to you what we're going to have on and what we're not going to have on during this test. Just like last time, I've done a few things. One, I've gone ahead and turned off our converter that charges our batteries that we have dedicated 12 volt. I've also gone ahead and switched the refrigerator over to run off propane. Television, internet, all that's still working. Our televisions are actually 12 volt, not really an issue, but behind it we have our router, etc. That all is working off the inverter, but most things other than the AC is working off 12 volt. I have switched over the hot water heater to gas so we don't burn anything there. Getting ready to make some popcorn, the old microwave popcorn, when I realized shouldn't do microwave popcorn. That microwave will burn a ton of energy. So I went and I looked in the cabinet to see if we had any Jiffy Pop. There goes the AC, working off the inverter, to run get some Jiffy Pop to run. For those of you who don't know what Jiffy Pop is, it's one of the ways you used to make popcorn on the stove before the microwave. We generally have some in here. Couldn't find any, but I did find a pack of popcorn seeds and oil. So I'm just going to pull out a pot and pan and make it the old way. Electricity for a while now. The AC just shut off. It ran for a little over an hour. Probably going to take a little breather here. Watching Happy Place Diaries, eating the popcorn we made. Should do pretty well. Keep in mind, everything I'm running off 12 volt, all the lights you see, the television, all of that is running off the two 12 volt batteries. Hey, it's about 9:30, about 9:37. Watching television. We started at 7:06, so it's been a couple hours. Air conditioner been running most of the time. It just cut off, so I thought I'd use that to video this real quick. I'm sitting here watching television. And we're at 80% on the battery. Now it's getting cooler outside because the light's gone out. So I kind of expect probably to start getting a little bit more out of each hour and kind of see where we head. So our 12 volt system's actually at 100%. Now, when did the sun come up? I woke up around 6. It was already up then. But like I said, it's not shining directly down on us or anything. It's just morning sun. Just don't use a lot of. We expected the 12 volt system to be down around 80 or something. We ran a ton of lights. Ran the water pump. I washed dishes last night. Took a shower this morning. We watched a lot of television last night, which are 12 volt televisions. But they just don't all pull a lot of power. That 200 amp hours is a lot. And it seems that as soon as we get any sun or daylight on those solar panels, tops it off fairly quickly unless we've drained them really far down. So, I'm just not worried about our 12 volt system. I think our 2 battery system is keeping up with that. And for my purposes, I don't have to worry about it. I know between my solar panel and my hooking up to hookups once in a while and having those 2 dedicated batteries for a 12 volt system, I don't worry about that at all. And that way I can just run my inverter batteries with no concerns. And if I overdo it and they run all the way down to near 0, then no harm, no foul. Now, before a lot of people comment, you run them down to 0, you'll ruin your batteries. These batteries have a built-in BMS system that won't let you take them down to that level. I also have my Victron set up as well for a little extra safety precaution. But I wouldn't want to run my batteries down that low and then be depending on them to bring in my slide and all that stuff. So it gives me that safety protection between the 2 systems. Now, there is an exception to when my 12 volt system sometimes can't keep up with the demand. And that's when we're cold weather camping and we're running the heater. The heater fan really sucks a lot of 12 volt juice. And in that circumstance, I'd probably just flip on my inverter. It's right almost 9:30 and we're now at the 50% mark on our inverter dedicated batteries. Clearly, just leaving the air conditioning on, running it all the time, on a night like last night where we start off around 90 to 93 degrees, somewhere between 90 and 93, and it cools off in the evening, you can make it clearly for a overnight in a Cracker Barrel parking lot or at a Harvest Host or Boondocker's Welcome, not a problem at all, which was what this test was designed to check for. What it's also proven, in my opinion, is on nights like last night, you could cool it off with your AC, then switch over to fans or other things you run off your 12 volt, and you could make it for quite some time, for several days, maybe a week plus. And especially if you have solar feeding your batteries during the day. So I think that if someone is wanting a boondock, this would work for that as well too. However, if you'll remember that very first test we did, we only got a couple, 2.5 hours or so, maybe less. You can go back and watch that, when we were running it during the middle of the day, really hot, with no solar coming in whatsoever. The differences in that test is, I'd say we did have our refrigerator running, which is a massive drain. Now we're running it on propane. That test we had it running off of the inverter. This is one of the reasons, though, I know a lot of people are switching to 12 volt or residential. If you're thinking of doing any boondocking at all, or off the hookups, I think you really should consider keeping the propane. It's just the most efficient way to run your refrigerator when not on. We did a little different in this test, other than just the refrigerator and adding the additional battery, is our prior test we were running off of a hotspot for our internet. The hotspot was plugged into the 110. Well, we still are running our internet off of the inverter, but now we're using Starlink, and I'm not sure what the power differences is there. But for this entire test, I've had the Starlink plugged in and working, and that's actually how I've been streaming television that we watched all last night and this morning. So it doesn't seem like that's had a major impact on the amount of power. But we just hit noon, and we just hit 10% on the batteries with the air running. Now, if the air keeps cycling on and off, we might get another 30 minutes. But that's about as low as I really want to take the batteries on the test. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Not bad. We started at 7:06 p.m. and we made it till noon with no issues. Well, there it is.